Okay, so we're all set. I see no reason to wait a whole minute. So, hello my friends, welcome back to my stream. I'm Pierre, your host. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. So we're starting the stream 1 minute early. I was kind of anxious to get to work, so that's the way it goes, no big deal. So just to get the ball rolling, we're going to go over to the computer, we're going to check out what we did yesterday, and then we'll tackle our day from there. So what did we do yesterday? Well, it wasn't very complicated. We put the second coat to our heart, second coat of orange, red, gold, and then we put dots and dots and dots throughout the entire frame. That is basically what we did yesterday. So what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to continue obviously on the heart and on the frame. So I thought I would start with the heart first and finish that, but in fact by looking at the painting, thinking about it a little bit more, I think it's a lot smarter for me to start with the frame, give it time to dry, do the black outline to the heart, and then I can go back and continue on the frame. So that's what we're going to do. I am going to get some gold paint together because I'm going to put some little, I don't know what you would call it, decorations, stars, whatever, in gold first. So that is what I'm going to do. And if I recall, I ended my tube of gold paint yesterday, but I have some in the back room. I am going to go right now and get some. There we go. Got my tube of gold paint. Very nice. Iridescent gold. And let me just grab a little palette here. There we go. So, got that together. Now I need a little brush. Well, I'm going to start off, first of all, by getting the right texture of this gold. I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it. Like that, I know it will go on the canvas very nicely, very easily, as though it was ink. Now with this gold paint, one thing I know for sure is that I don't want to put too much water because then it loses its opacity. And that is one thing I do not want. So I'm going to keep this really thick. I don't think it'll be a big problem for what we're going to be doing. I think you could use another drop of water. Let's not exaggerate with the thickness. There we go. So we are Wednesday today, and I'm aiming to finish this painting by Friday. Like that, on Monday morning we can start with a brand new painting. That would be pretty awesome. Nice way to finish the week. There. So my paint looks pretty good. Now all I need to do is find the right paintbrush. Not too thick and not too thin. So I have quite a few choices here. Let's hope that I'll find the right one right away. So in fact, I have 3 choices right here. Okay, let's make that 2 choices. And I think I'm going to try this one. If it doesn't work out, I'll just switch. It's no big deal. There we go. I'll set him aside as I'm going to go over to camera number 1. And I'm going to bring that over a little closer, because I'm going to start on that upper left-hand corner of the canvas. I always tend to start that way, like that. I'm sure I won't put my hand in the wet paint. There we go. I think I can. That's pretty good right there. Let me just maybe move it over just a little bit like this. Like that, I'm sure I won't be in front of the lens. Okay, so let me grab my brush, my gold paint here. All right, so let's go for it. I'll just switch over to camera number 1. Okay, there we go. This paint is really thick. I don't usually paint with paint that's thick, but it doesn't matter. I'd rather have it thick and opaque than a little more liquid and being transparent, which gold usually does. There we go. So, where am I going to go next? I guess I'll head towards the middle of the canvas, up on the top shelf there first. So where is the center here? Maybe right about here? Very good. Yes, that gold on the black background does look beautiful. I must say, I do it quite a bit because I love it. Now, am I going to do another one between the two that I just did? I'm not really sure yet. And since I am not sure, I am just going to continue, and then we can decide at the end if we want to add more. Sometimes too much is too much, so you have to know when to say stop. I've blew a few paintings because exactly for those reasons. I didn't know when to quit and overloaded them, which eventually screwed up the whole thing, in my opinion. And it's all a question of taste. It's really weird, you know. I remember doing a series of street posters, basically with a few leaves and a big multi-swirl in the middle, and then just a big heart. But the background colors, all 4 of my posters were the same, except the background colors all changed. I had a yellow, a green, a red, and a purple. And they all looked, I thought, pretty good, except for one that I thought just didn't quite make it, didn't look right. And believe it or not, that is the one that I sold before I had a chance to glue it in the streets. So it really is a question of personal taste. And even I don't always have the right, I don't have the right, what is it? The right point of view, I guess. The same on my Instagram. I post a lot of paintings every day. And some of the ones that I think are really like I screwed up is the painting that will have the most likes. So go figure. I know one thing, I stopped. Well, first of all, I never give my opinion about somebody else's work. And I've given up on even thinking in deciding which one of my works made it or not. Because people have different tastes. Of course, I do have what my favorite ones, my favorite paintings. I guess you could call those the master's piece. I have a few of those paintings in my bedroom at home. I love them so much. Did them like 30, maybe even more than 30 years ago. At this point, I'd rather not count anymore. There we go. And let's go to the other side, and then eventually I will pull my chair. So where's the center of this? Right here. I guess I was a little high on the other side, but it doesn't matter. We're not really a few inches close one way or another, so I would say right about here. There we go. So it's very quiet at the Pigeonnier today. The Pigeonnier is the building where I work. 5 flights of studio spaces, and I'm the only one here today. It is a beautiful day. Probably everybody's out walking around, enjoying the beach or whatnot, the nice weather. It's true, last week we had a lot of rain, a lot of cloud, a lot of dampness, so I can understand why everybody'd be out having fun. But I have fun painting, so that's the way it goes for me. So let's go back over here in this lower left-hand corner. Just like that. I'll zoom in a little bit maybe. Here we go. And I'm going to bring my chair over. There we go. I have to be careful because there are some ripples on the canvas here because it's stapled to the wall, and of course the corners always get a little distorted. These little mountains, little valleys. I'm gonna be careful. There we go. So it's been, I think, just about a week now that most terraces, cafes have opened up again to the public. So it's so nice to have life again in the streets. And where am I going to go? Right about here, I guess. Let me make a major zoom. Hopefully the camera won't go out of focus like it does once in a while. Okay. So where is the middle? Right about here, I'd say. Yeah, I'd say right about there. So let me just move the camera There we go. I'll play some music in a few seconds, especially when I do the outline of my heart, because I'm going to have to be pretty concentrated for that. But first, let's get this last little star or flower or whatever you want to call it in this corner here. Just like that. And I guess I'll just switch over to camera number 1. And there we go. So I have to be careful again because of these ripples in the canvas. There we go. Very good. So, there we go. So, what are we going to do next? We're going to outline the heart. And that's what we said we'd do. Finish that off. Well, just about finish it off. Okay, I'll start with the upper part. And for that, I'm going to get some black paint together. So, is this my jar of black paint? Yes, it is. Very good. Well, I guess the other paintbrush that I didn't use for those little flowers or planets is the one that I'll use to put down the black paint. So that worked out pretty good. I assume this will be a good brush. If not, I will have to switch. Maybe I'll just check these out just to be sure. I love this brush, but it's going to be way too thick. Or will it be? Maybe not. I'll set him aside just in case. If I could find one just a little bit thinner would be ideal. Like this one maybe. Okay, so I'm going to start with the brush that I put aside earlier. I'm pretty hesitant here which one to use. Okay, I'll go with this guy first. And let me get my knife out, get the little bit of black paint together here. Now this I'm going to have to work with some water because this is important to get this black paint to be the right consistency so it really flows on the canvas the way I want it to. with total control. And since it is black paint, I don't have to worry too much about the opacity, so I can just get that right texture. And for that, I'm actually going to use a little bit bigger of a brush so it goes a little quicker. There we go. Let me move these guys out of the way. Again, if I was mixing several colors together like I usually do, I would go over to camera number 1 and we could do that together. But black on the black palette, there's not much to see. There's nothing that exciting or thrilling about mixing paint with water. So I'll just do this very quickly over here and stick with camera number 2. So this is getting to be nice and creamy, but I think it's just a little bit too thick. So one more big drop of water, and that should do it. Just work this all. Yes, that looks pretty good right there. Okay, so just want to rinse this guy off a little bit. There we go. And I'll wash it at the end of the day. And so what did we say? We said we'd go with this brush. This brush now looks a little thin to me, a little too small. So what am I going to do? Am I going to go back to these brushes here? I'm going to try this one. I was a little worried that it was going to be a little too big, but when I look at the size of the heart, it might just be perfect. So let me take off the excess water. I'll dip it in the black paint here. And I'll switch cameras, and actually I'm going to put some music on. So these are my friends, Diego on the violin, Jacek on the guitar, and Lucien on the drums. So thanks to them, I don't have to worry, and I haven't worried for over a year about YouTube censoring me because of the music. So that's great. So I am going to again just start the music and switch over to camera number 1 and tackle these hearts. So this is definitely the right size paintbrush. Okay, I'll fix up my little screw-ups later. Okay, very good so far. So far, so good. So let me bring this baby down here. All right, okay, so cool. Very good. So let me pull the camera back. And I will zoom in right here just to show you a few of these splatter marks that happened the other day. And I was waiting till I have some black paint just to, there we go, hide them. Right like that. Okay, since I have the black paint right here, I might as well do the outline to my circle. So I'm going to do that right now. And for that, I might actually have to add a little bit of more black paint on my palette. There we go. And pick the right brush for the task. Again, I have several choices. I think I'll go with this one right here. So just like before, I'm going to work the paint to get it to be the right consistency so it just goes on the canvas as it should. And I think I'm going to just go over to the computer and turn on my monitor so it's a little louder. I'm going to get rid of this pop-up. And I'm going to come over here just to turn on my little louder on the monitor because I enjoy listening to the music as well. Bum, bum, bum. There it is. There we go. And let's go back to that camera right there. There, just turned it up a little louder so I could enjoy it as well. Okay, so this black paint looks just right. Now, where am I at? Let me get my camera together here. I'll zoom in just a little bit. Just like that. Okay, so let me just switch over to camera number 1 and let's tackle this outline. Yes, those little pop-up windows that on their own pop up and drive me crazy. Okay, let me just step back for a second and see where it needs thickening. Basically up here on the top left, I guess. There you go. Fuck. There we go. So what's it look from afar? Actually, it looks pretty good except for one little area right down here. I was thinking I should put a disclaimer on my show saying how much I cuss. I should be known as the cussing painter. Okay, not bad. Of course, now we try to seek that elusive thing called perfection. So I'm going to use my chair for that. And I'm going to aim right down here. Just like that. Okay, so that looks pretty damn good. And of course, we are still seeking perfection, so I'm just going to add a little more over here. Just like that. Now what do we have? Okay, so I'm satisfied with that. Very good. Today seems to be, I'm doing pretty good. I do have a few areas to fix it with black paint, but after fixing that area there just a few minutes ago, I decided I would do my sperms first, and then way at the end, I'll fix whatever. Like that, I won't have any wet paint to contend with now, because I'm going to return to the frame, and I'm going to add the first coat to my sperms. I'm going to have little sperms on the frame, and then eventually, when this is dry tomorrow, I'm going to put some larger sperms. It's going to be sperms all over. It's spring. There's got to be sperms. Sperms in the air. Watch out. Run for cover, ladies. Run for cover. So what am I doing? I am seeking my cerulean blue, which is right here. I'm going to use the cerulean blue as the light blue, and I'll use the cobalt blue as the shadowing for these sperms. Usually, or for the last few years, I've been using cerulean mixed with white to make it like a baby blue, a light blue, and then the cerulean as the shadowing. But today I'm going for a darker blue because I rediscovered my cobalt blue for this painting, which is one of my favorite colors, has been for years. And then, of course, in south of France, a lot of pastel colors permeate a little bit all the buildings, and so I kind of lightened my palette when I got here. But I must say that to repaint with this dark cobalt blue was a pleasure. I'm trying to peel some of this to have a nice clean palette. just like this, and I'll switch over and show you exactly what I mean. You see, here's my palette with light blue on it. And then I was just trying to peel on the corners, on the edges. Because as you can see, the pigments are held together in acrylic paints with a polymer emulsion, which if you put it on a non-porous surface, well, it just peels off. And why? Because it's nothing else, nothing more than just plastic. And you can see the light blue, cerulean blue, that I put on top of the gold that was used probably before that with this palette. So it's a nice way to recycle palettes. Well, what I call a palette, it's nothing more than the cap to one of my paint jars, but it usually does the trick. So that looks pretty good. Let me bring the camera back up. And what did we say we were going to do? Oh yes, so we're going to tackle that way up there. I'll fix that in a few seconds. Let me just come back over here. 2 points. Let me get my cerulean blue in here. I'm almost out right here as well. But it doesn't matter, I have another full tube of paint. Does this unscrew or not? No, it doesn't look like it does. Okay, so I'll just squeeze the living daylights out of it, hopefully get the last little drop of blue. We will basically be done for the day because, well, we'll see. Let's do this and see where we're at. I would like to get a lot done today. Tomorrow is what, Thursday and Friday. So I got plenty of time to finish this painting. I think, at least I do. We'll see. I've often said that, and then on Fridays realized the painting wasn't finished till the following, and then I would come back and continue on my painting. But since I want to do everything together on the stream, I just can't do that. I'm not going to make you wait for an hour while I'm waiting for the paint to dry. Now, if we have to wait just like 5 or 10 minutes, I have a bunch of little video clips and slideshows to entertain you for a few minutes, but not for an hour. So what do I have here? I have a thick, creamy. Is this too thick? Is it too creamy? I think I'll add just one more drop of water. There is a good chance that I might have to put 2 coats on. I didn't think about that. 2 coats tomorrow. Okay, well, we'll figure it all out as we go along. My first problem is this the right paintbrush? So I'm going to clean it off and I'm going to check it out, because it seems to be a little thick. And this is the kind of thing I want to have total control over, because I want this paint to just glide. I mean, the whole reason I do sperms is because I love this gesture, this movement. So I could, well, I call them sperms, but they could be snakes. But not really. Let's not push it. Okay, so I think I'm ready to go here. I am going to put my camera number 1 in that upper left-hand corner, which is where I'm going to start. Just like that. And I'll put Diego and Jacek and Lucien's music back on, and I'll start painting. So let's go back to camera number 1. Okay, I'm coming back over here because somehow there's some black paint that crept into my brush here. I don't know why, unless I wiped it on some black paint on my rag. There we go. Okay, so let's go back to camera number 1. So this is definitely going to take 2 coats. I can see by the way it covers. And I am not even sure I have the right paintbrush for this, because it's not going on as smoothly as it usually does, which means that either it's not the right paintbrush or the paint isn't the right consistency. So, oops, sorry about that. So I'm going to switch paint brushes, and hopefully I will have picked the right one this time. Still is not going on as smoothly as it usually does. Why is that? I don't know. Yeah, definitely going to need a second coat. Oh well, no big deal. So let's go down here. I will grab my chair. I'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. There we go. So I actually have to move the camera back here for this, so I'll do it this way. Okay. Let me pull this camera back and we'll do this left-hand side. So I'll start up here in the middle. There we go. Need a little bit of water here on my brush and in my paint. There we go. Boy, these sperms are nice and fat. Usually I make them a lot thinner, but that's the way it goes, right? No big deal, I guess. I've only, painted 100,000 of these sperms. So let me just switch over to camera number 1. Oops, I forgot about the music. There we go. I'll turn that back on. And there we go. So I am going to just stop the music for a while, for a second. Thank you, gentlemen. Very kind of you to give us all this music for free. Now, let's step back and see where we're at today. Well, we are just about done for the day. Unfortunately, it is not sufficiently dry for me to continue, but I am going to fix all the black screw-ups since I have the black paint right here and brushes all ready. Just very quickly fix everything, get it ready for tomorrow. I mean, quite frankly, I'm not sure if anybody would ever see this. Well, probably. It takes just a few seconds, and I can rest in peace tonight. There we go. So, any more of these little golden screw-ups anywheres? A few right here. I mean, really just little dots. But what the hell? Ne tentes aut perfice, as they say in Latin. Do not attempt unless you perfection. Okay, so where are we at? Let me get the cameras back in their usual places here. Get a little view from afar. Let me see if I can't zoom in this guy as well. So that is what we have from camera number 2, the way things look today. And then camera number 1. And from the front. So very good. So tomorrow I'll just add a little bit of yellow right here, fix this little orange screw up. I mean, it's like not even a 16th, but we are seeking perfection. And then what? And then probably put again another coat on the sperms, add some stars to the background of our blue right here. And basically, we will be done. I'm not sure if oh no, I'm not done. What am I talking about? Then we have our big sperms have to put on first a coat of white, and then we'll put on the coat of cerulean and cobalt blue. So if I want to finish this by Friday, well, tomorrow we're going to have to bull and jam. All that because it takes 2 coats. I mean, I want these colors to be as vibrant as possible. So it usually takes 2 coats. I want to hide the brush stroke marks as well. Of course, on the camera, you can't really tell, but when you're standing in front of the painting, you can see it. So, and that's where my clients usually stand, in front of the paintings. Otherwise, they don't sign that check. Anyways, so we are coming to the conclusion of our show. I am going to do like I usually do, being the old hippie that I am, a little reverence and thanks to the forces of nature for being alive. And I want to thank you as well. I want to thank you for joining me today. And I hope as well you will join me tomorrow, though tomorrow is Thursday, so things are going to be slightly different. I will be streaming on Facebook Live, and like every Thursday, I will be streaming in French. Now you know that I'm living in France by now, so it's normal that one day a week I stream in French because I have a lot of friends here and they also don't want to have to struggle to figure out the foreign language that I'm talking in. So anyways, that said, I hope you'll join me tomorrow. I'll be here at 9 a.m. again, maybe a few minutes early because we do have a bunch of work we want to get done. So I'm going to leave you like usual with two things. One, my schedule, and two, by saying, ciao mes amis.